Welcome, 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 everybody. My name is April. As you all know, my spirits and I together, we are called Austrae Astoundance. Welcome to the Conspiritesees podcast. Thank you all for joining and tuning in. And for those that have been ever so much supportive of my predictions and readings, thank you very much. I wanted to come on here today because I have been pressed to talk about this, and rightfully so, about the drones. Everyone's been asking me, April, what is going on? Like, tell me what is happening with all this drone activity. And this is supposedly there's been a lot of activity over in New Jersey, which I had no feelings or intuitive thoughts or that I was navigating through at the moment when I was hearing about it. However, when I actually took the time to sit down with spirit, I was asking them, hey, what is going on? And the first thing that they told me was they wanted to talk about the government, obviously. And there's a reason that they're doing this. The government is sending something out there, these drone type things, because it's looking for something. And there is a heightened sensitivity in this particular area in New Jersey, where there could be some possibility of like some kind of chemical warfare. I don't know, maybe this is nuclear. Like there's some kind of threat of something. Now, who that could be, I don't know. But I'm almost suspicious that there could be something to do with. I wouldn't call it a terrorist type thing. I would say this is more like what I'm gathering is something with the Russians or something like this. Now, am I right? I don't know, but I was gonna just shuffle a few cards on this to kind of see. I think Putin is I think he's a Libra. So, but I was just gonna kind of ask to see what is going on here. So I'll throw down a little tarot, but this is what I got so far. And
He's October 7th.
yeah, so Libra. I just
I
remember
have
from
I have some questions too. So
sure,
like
yeah, yeah.
I've heard different things. I've heard that
What did you hear?
well, I heard that there's different things. People think they're aliens, of course, which I don't really think they are. I think they're more connected to with something to do with radiation detection. So I've heard theories, and this sounds like the most sound theory, that they're actually using these drones to remotely detect radiation because they believe maybe terrorists or another country has brought something in and they might use it, say, around New Year's Eve in New York or New Jersey or Washington. They might even try and wait till I've heard something about Trump's inauguration being a worry, but they could do this anywhere. And there's a lot of people that have come in here that aren't really they don't really have the best interest for the United States, so they have grievances against us,
Hmm.
and they just if they have the capabilities to do it, it's pretty scary. So that's why I was wondering what your thoughts on it were, or
Well,
your
here's the
spirits.
thing. When I didn't have, like I said, when I first like dove into this with spirit, I was like, I didn't have a clue. I was like, what? And everybody was messaging me about this, and I was like, I haven't even had a moment to kind of gather my feelings on it until I just like really sat with spirit and asked them. And so they showed me the symbol of it almost reminds me of a toxic, what is that logo that they say, oh, this is toxic or biohazard, like something, that symbol that you see a
Hazardous
lot,
material,
something like this. They were showing me there was
biohazard.
something. Yes. So I said, okay, so these drones are flying and sent from our government, the United States government. They're looking for something that is chemical. This is the download that Spirit was giving me. So I'm not going to waver from what they're saying. I also feel that I asked, is this like a threat from someone in particular? I don't know. And then Spirit reiterated and said, no to terrorists. I'm not quite getting something like that. It feels a little bit more external, further away. So I was led to something potentially like maybe Russia or China or something like this. Now, I just threw some tarot down right now, and this is unbelievable. So, in the last either 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, somebody has been watching our bay areas or the areas where the channels are, or these, I don't know if there's like certain areas they're watching, but it feels like it's over water. Um, Maybe we got people kind of scooting and booting around our bay areas. Okay. So the coastlines, stuff like this. There is some kind of chemical or something that is coming up by certain cards I'm seeing here. I only say this for those that know tarot. Sometimes when I'm reading on the Seven of Cups, to me, this is like an incline. This is like a the way you can look at this is like it could be chemical. If I'm asking about a health reading, it's like okay, there's something with their taking medicines. It could be prescriptions, something in the body that could throw the body off. In this case, I'm just asking, what the hell are they doing here? What's going
Or they
on?
might need iodine for it because usually iodine combats the radiation. So the thyroid of
Interesting.
the iodine, yeah, the iodine helps with helps with radiation sickness.
There's definitely something off here. There's a lot of deception around this particular chemical or something like this. Um,
You did. I'm pretty sure that it was in a reading. Either a reading you did like a year or so ago, or maybe 2 years ago. We did a something like it might have been a podcast last year. But you did talk about something happening in New York. I can't
I
remember the
did.
when you yeah,
When
you
did
did
I say
talk about
that?
that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you did. I'm pretty sure you did. I remember we at least we've talked about it before,
You
and you
know
said
what?
something about it.
You know what? You're right because now I had a dream and I usually have premonition dreams and I have been deeply suspicious about this for a very long time since actually 2020, 2020, 2019. I've been talking about this. I saw those, those ugly looking masks that people wear in World War, was it World War One, where they had the two little like those gas
Like a
masks. What are
gas
those called?
mask? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, gas
Uh-huh.
mask, yeah.
Okay. I had seen these people in these buildings that were kind of broken apart, but there were like these really elongated buildings that go up and down. So it felt like I was in a city somewhere. Okay. But I had the sense it was East Coast. I am presuming that it felt like more like New York. I've never been there in my life. I know I have a lot of New York people that are wonderful clients and they're from there or around those areas. Um, but I had seen this that there was something where people were walking around with these masks, like somebody had sent something their way, that it was from an enemy that either blew something up or did something where people had to run for cover to get out of that area, where it was completely destroyed to some degree in this small confined area in this downtown city. To me, it felt like New York or somewhere downtown, and and there you couldn't inhabit the area because it was like they cleared all the people out because it was toxic. And I remembered it distinctly because I dream the future, and I've talked about this, but I try not to say too much because I don't want to scare people. But I know that it's lovingly suggested that, take it easy in the downtown areas, anywhere in the United States, just because of just threats and things like that. Now, we all have to live our lives, but, you want to be mindful of things like this, especially if you feel or we're hearing more about stuff as we go into the future. But I feel like something like this could happen. So, I had predicted and talked about too that I believe it's likely that the United States could be struck. So, where exactly, my guess and what my feeling was is this particular area, over in that area, New York. So it's just something I've always felt and sensed. I want to be wrong, but my spirits whispered in my ear when I was dreaming this about this future vision I seen. Okay. They whispered in my ear, they said they're gonna change the name and it will no longer be called New York. It will be called the new city. Like, but I wasn't sure. But here's the thing, I woke up like, is it New York or New Jersey? Like it was new something. NEW something. I thought maybe this is New York. I've never been to New Jersey in my life. I don't even know what New Jersey looks like. But I knew it was new something. And Spirit says they crossed out the second word and said they're going to call it the new city. And they were all wearing these gas masks and it was completely uninhabitable. Like you can't grow shit there. You can't have any stocks, resources going in there because it's all contaminated. They cleared out. a big portion of the city. And here's how I saw it, because I was floating above the city and I was up with the birds and I was floating and I can see all this going down. And I was starting to come down to where this place was. To me, it felt like a very like big downtown area. I'm not saying it looked like the Twin Towers area where you see all that footage, and I've been watching the Twin Towers stuff for years. Um, all the videos and stuff, because my spirits had told me from the spirits that passed away in the Twin Towers, they insist on saying that those souls are saying that this was a complete um setup by our own government. So what they claimed it was is not what it is. And the souls that have passed in that tragedy, unfortunately, are saying it too, even in my own readings from the loved ones that have been left behind. So it's like, okay. So I recognize sort of these areas from just connecting with these souls that have passed in the Twin Towers. I'm not saying it's in that area specifically, but it's somewhere in that vicinity of like reminded me of that vision or those visuals. So something with the word new, New York, New Jersey, I don't know, but Spirit crossed out the second word in the dream and said, they're going to call it the new city. Now, when this is going to come, it's not clear to me, but I presume that we're looking at some weird stuff here coming up between now and 2027, some stuff popping up. Okay. And then from 2027 on, I'm concerned. So these are just my feelings on it. In fact, I've thought about traveling to New York and going to visit New York areas, and my spirits just never really liked the idea of me going over there. I've never had like a need to go check it out. It's just not something that I have this like, yeah, I gotta go, right? It's just more been like, okay, it's nice to look at from afar, but it's not anything I've had an interest in, just because of the feelings I get around it. I know some people sing about New York, like what is it, Alicia Keys, New York? She sings her songs, and that's all great. But it's just not something that I was like, yes, this is the place to go and check out. Um, so it's just a feeling I have. But but this is something that I did see. I saw the mask, I saw the whole thing, and this guy was in, he looked like a normal civilian in the dream. He had like these jeans, these pants on, and he was struggling because half the building was like popped off the top, like a cork that just popped, boom. And I'm looking around and I'm like, what happened? You don't see kids, you don't see like nothing going on except a few stragglers hanging around. And it looked like they're going back into the buildings to grab stuff that they think they need or want. People left behind, I don't know. But this is just the feeling that I was having. Now, it didn't feel like this was like the timelines were speeding up, like this is like something that's coming right away. But I feel like there's things that could be coming up where we could potentially be seeing some problems, like little, like they're chiseling away at something to get us to the big thing. So I trust in my spirits, and I know that they're saying it for a reason. Um, and they called that place the new city, and it's definitely renamed for sure, like the new city. At some point, don't be surprised if that comes up. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I pray I'm wrong about some of the stuff I see and say, but it's not, but if look what happened in just the last, I don't know, 4 years with COVID. Did we ever think in a million fucking years we'd ever see anything like this kind of shit show we just saw? It's unreal. It's like you can't even like believe that it's happening, and then it starts happening and you're like, "Whoa." Like, right? So what makes me think this something like this wouldn't pop up, you know? So
Here's some
it's sort of
questions
like,
I have asked though. I wanted to ask though.
yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So there's New Rochelle, there's Newark, there's New Rochelle in New York, and there's Newark in there. So there's a new and there's two news there. But my question is it going on in the ports? Like, what do your spirits say? Do they say there's something going on with this in the ports
They're
where they're bringing a
navigating.
bomb in through that way, or are they
I had
actually
seen
all?
I had seen Russian, like those submarines. I had talked about this not too long ago. I think it was last year maybe. They were showing me the submarines, or these like things navigating through the waters around our territories. And so I have been talking about the channels, the ports, battles and wars over these particular areas. And I say battles and wars, I don't necessarily mean bombs being thrown off and like stuff like that. I feel like they're fighting over these territories because, or they want to weaken our position when it comes to our resources coming into our ports. Because if you weaken the stuff that's coming in, we don't have all the options that we have now. Like, whatever they're bringing into the country, from this place, that place, because that's where all our some of our resources are coming in those areas, because the trade is where the money's at. So if you weaken our trade, it becomes a problem. Just like I was talking about the Suez Canal. I know everybody's focused on the tragedies, of course. I mean, hands down, but they want to widen the Suez Canal. They have an interest over there. It's considered a holy land. There's a big portal over there. You open that Suez Canal, you don't have these big ships coming all the way around Africa to get to the Mediterranean Sea, because it gets too much traffic in that tiny little area. They want to widen it. That's a big money making machine right there. You cut your gas prices, for the ships to travel like completely in half. And then you make more bang for your buck. So you got to follow the money too. But going back to the waters and answering the questions, yes, I think they're interested in something over there. Why would they be all over there in New Jersey? Why are they buzzing over there? It's very odd. I think New Jersey and New York is a target. There's something going on. Is there a port over there in Jersey?
Well, there's a lot of ports. There's a big port that goes through there. It's because Jersey's right next to New York, so it's right neighboring. And there's a big inlet right there.
Yeah.
It's like the upper bay that goes through there. But I was wondering, is there something planned for maybe New Year's? Like, are they planning to pop off around New Year's by chance?
I'm thinking about it. Let me ask.
Because that's
I'm
a
not
real question to
I'm
ask.
not getting anything, but I think they're scheming on something right now.
Also, could they be waiting for something like maybe the presidential inauguration and going towards DC? Because it's not that far away, you know.
I know before we blink our eyes, it's that time.
No, I mean it's just not that far in distance. You don't have that far to go. You know, you got a couple 100 miles. Just the questions that have been going on in my head.
Yeah, see, it's over the water. It's chemicals in the water. Chemicals in the water, because that's another problem. If there's like chemicals exposure, it gets into the water. You can't even drink the water. It makes the whole entire place uninhabitable.
Do you think they're planning on poisoning the water? Somebody is.
I mean, I talked about the waterways. I talked about our fresh waters being threatened. There'll be a war. Spirit called it the war over the waters. So they said anything from the channels, anything from our ports, anything from our fresh water, that we're anticipating some problems with that. And it's already happening now. All the way down to striking of the ports, like where there's stuff like that going on. Um, but in terms of your question and asking what are they planning, um I am not quite sure. I would say something could come up between now and I would say probably Aquarius season. So it really does feel that Capricorn season feels like something's building up, but maybe something could come up between now and Aquarius season. When is the inauguration?
It's on the 20th of January.
Yeah, that's the beginning of Aquarius season.
Oh, jeez. That's
So
spooky.
that does feel really spooky because I just pulled the star card. Star card, for those of you that know a little bit of tarot, is Aquarius. It's Aquarius season. I did. So if it's on the 20th, that's Aquarius season right there. So I'm going to just gracefully say that I pray that nothing goes too wild, but I think that there's something could come up between now and Aquarius season with the drones. Yeah. I think what they're doing, they're being assembled and released from the United States government. I feel like they're looking for a chemical. Spirit keeps calling it a chemical, whatever that means. I don't know. I know there's special words for different types of chemicals, but some people could say it's chemical warfare. Some people could say it's radiation. Some people, but they're showing me like this weird hazard sign. It looks like something like that. Like there's something odd about the whole thing. So, we can anticipate in the next 3 years problems with our ports, problems with channels, but most importantly, all across the world. Yes. So, and here's the thing: if you really think about how easy it is to bring chemicals into the country, you can bring them through the ports. They're shipped in, they're snuck in. Keep in mind, look what they're doing with the fentanyl. They're killing all the American youth or people that are tempted to do drugs, and they're lacing everything with fentanyl and killing off the youth. They're doing it on purpose. They're moving it through the South, Mexico, places like that, just to get into our states, just to start passing it out throughout the country. And so look how easy that is to do. And China's involved. You know what I'm saying? And like nobody's talking about this shit. I am. I'm not afraid to say something. I know many of us are talking about it probably sitting at dinner, but I'm here and I'm being recorded. It's live. And I'm saying that, stuff is creeping in through our ports and through our borders. It's too fucking easy. So, how do we monitor that? Through drones. And if they're centralized, they're localizing themselves around New Jersey area, there's something fucking going on. They're targeting those areas. So, I don't know what else to say except we need to be very mindful and no, I don't get like an alien invasion thing. I do feel like they're going to an attempt to make something look like an alien invasion at some point if they're not already trying to do it now. That's just my prediction. So, you know what I mean? They're trying to like fan something up to like make it look like something and but is this it? I'm not saying that. I think it's I the minute when I heard about it, something just told me the government. There's just no way around it. I just said, okay, it's the government. But I didn't have the time at the moment or the capacity at the moment to really sit down and focus because I was in the middle of the air on a plane traveling at the time. So I just didn't have the focus. And then finally I sat down and Spirit goes, "We said the government." I said, "All right, take it easy with me. Let's talk about this. What is going on?" They said, "Talk about the chemicals." So there's a chemical threat. What chemicals, I don't know. But they're detecting something. They're looking for something. And the way we can track it is above because they have all the technology to do it. These drones are advanced. It's just there's something and they probably don't want to talk about it if the government has been interviewed or people are asking questions. They probably don't want to talk about it because they don't want to tip off anybody because they're looking for something. Now, because we have this new change in administration, we have even more threats, and sometimes it comes from the inside. Unfortunately, everybody knows it, and if you're not thinking it, you should. That we have enemies on our own team. So, we have to think about those motives too. I think about it all the time because my spirits talk about it all the time. They said, "April, this new administration, you know what I mean? If certain people that you can put in the front to cover up for certain things and you can get away with for so long. I mean, they just clipped JFK because um he was trying to wipe out the CIA. Everybody knows it. So it's just like we just have to be careful. I mean, it's just like you can't just assume we can trust things. So, am I saying that there's going to be something that goes haywire by the time the inauguration hits. I just know that they're just going to probably make something very interesting. We might have some interesting news. And I'm anticipating just looking at the astrology alone. We have a complete shit show popping off in March of 2025. March is going to be a wild month. So get ready because it's going to be interesting. But I definitely know that there is some stuff going on because if there's something to be hidden or people are going to get caught, they're going to just start lighting matches and setting off fucking bombs. You know what I mean? Not literally, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, look at all the cartoons that, the chases that go on in the cartoons and they start like lighting shit, and bombing bridges. Like, when you're losing or that you could get caught at something that is wrong or unethical, like it's like if you're trying to clear um certain corruptions in the government, it's just a shit show. So I'm anticipating it's a little bit of this. I'm anticipating it's a little bit of some enemy people around outside of the United States. Um, I don't know why, but the Russians come up. I'm anticipating stuff like this, and I do feel like there is a chemical threat, something like this. Chemical, what it is, I don't know. I'm not like very educated on all this stuff, so you guys have to forgive me. But Spirit, quote unquote, called it a chemical. That's it, whatever that means. But between now and Aquarius season, there could be something that comes up that could be a little bit of a threat. Now, my predictions and the visions that I had seen, I don't have a timeline for that. What I was telling you guys earlier. But I do know something will come up, and I do know for a fact because my spirits told me that the United States could get hit with something. And to me, it feels like an East Coast connection. I did not get Pacific or like the West Coast. I felt it was East. So, and the way they're entering this stuff into the country is through the water, the coastlines, the ports, the channels. They're moving stuff through. So there's a lot of this weird stuff going on. And the only way they can track it is above us. So they got these flying things, trying to track some stuff. So, and they're very sophisticated types of equipment. But this is what my take is, you guys, on the drones. Do with the messages what you will. It is not like facts that I'm saying. These are just what my spirits and what they are saying, and my predictions and the visions I have of the future and the possibilities of what could happen. Am I saying that will happen? No. I'm saying these are vulnerabilities and possibilities that could happen. The energy is there. It's in the reading. I can see it. But we need to be careful with chemicals, stuff like this. And I think that these particular machines are trying to detect something. I even get the feeling that there's buttons on it where you can detect a scent. A scent. Like it triggers something and it alerts something of a scent. This is the feeling I'm getting. I don't know how to describe that. I mean, everything that's going on with AI and all the technology, God only knows. But this is something that it has it's like a hound dog that they sent out, and it's got a scent, and it can detect something. And certain things show up in colors on a camera to show what a liquid form would be or a powder form would be. It shows up like it color triggers the machines to say, hey, this is this and this is that. And it has the ability to have night vision. You can see things moving along at night. And it has the ability to see through the water. So like deep, like it scans the water. They can see stuff moving along in the sea or the ocean or a lake or a river. It's like it could see all this stuff. It's very advanced stuff. This is just the feeling I'm getting, and these are the visions that I'm getting. So just something to think about, guys. Again, this is my take on it. I hope this kind of helps to some degree, gives you a little bit of perspective. Again, it's all here. It's just do with the messages what you will. This is just my take on what my spirits have to say about the drones and New Jersey, um, and the possibilities of what could be coming forward. And that's what I got, you guys. Thank you all for listening to the Conspiracies podcast. Until next time, thank you.